Welcome. In this final installment, we are going to complete our Unitron game. So the Robotron style game themed with unicorns, we are going to add in states so that it becomes a fully playable game. First thing that we will want to do is we will want to have a string that we are going to store our state value in. And with this, I want to set it up so that I use the space key, well, not string, Boolean for that, as my kind of press to continue. So instead of clicking, because if we're clicking in the game to fire, it goes to a state, and if we still register a click and happen to be right where the button is, it's immediately going to start over, and I don't want to do that. So instead, what I want to do is make it so that I have to press the space key as our button to make that happen. So with that, we're going to have to go all the way down into our key codes here. And we're not using what I said anymore. I mean, I could use one of those. I'm just going to add down at the end here. So with that, we'll just do a little copy paste action on it. But we'll just have to modify the particulars. So it's not 68, but the space key's key code is 32. And space won't be an empty string. Space will be false. This is on key released. Just copy that. Go into our key pressed up here, and this is where we make it true. So that's easy enough to make that happen. And now what we want to do is to build out our different states as well as define our state variable. So going up into my setup, I'll just go down to the end of setup again, continuing our trend. We could organize all of setup so much better, but I would rather have things so you're not wondering which line it got inserted between. Every time we add a new state, we're just putting something at the end here. So we'll just say space is equal to false. So that would be something you would want to take up after you have completed the project, is to organize. You could organize your variables up here so that all your images are together, all classes, maybe even just go in the order of objects going across the class files, which is alphabetical. You could do that, organize things down here. So these are our keyboard movement Booleans, so we'd probably just add space to that. And so I would encourage you to do that. Now, with that, we're going to need to have a number of functions. And just like we've done in previous projects where we have added in our state system, we'll move all of this code here into our play game function. So let's see, that's the end of draw. So we'll just go down after that. And now we have void. And I'm going to name all of my functions state, followed by what it is, start. And we're going to have state start, state game, state win, state lose. And with these, they're going to all be pretty similar looking, so we can just go ahead and put all of these in. Of course, do watch what you're doing with your capitalization. And I see I do have to go and fix that. It's not void wind, it's void win. And we'll just go and add in some comments on these. So that's going to start all of that up. Now, when we look at our start function here. One thing that we're going to want to do is inside our game we do make the cursor go away, so we say no cursor. So just as a preparatory option, so we're consistent, so we'll just say cursor arrow. So that gives us the standard arrow. Now I can choose a background color. So you can choose whatever you want. I'll just go into my tools up here under color selector. And we'll just go and grab a color. So we can go find something that I'm happy with, and I'll just go for kind of that color right there. So fill. Oh, forgot my closing parenthesis up here. The nice part is start, when, and those are all going to be fairly similar. So once we get one done, we'll be able to repeat it. And now we're going to just draw a rectangle that fills it with that color. Next, what I want to do is center my text so that I can put in, I'm going to put a title in here. So we should always, every time we do text, we specify its alignment, its color, its size, and then whatever the text is. So now I'm going to fill this. Let's see, what color do I want to fill it with? I'll go for a lighter. So now we have aligned, filled. Now we're going to set our text size. And then we can just go put what I want the text to be. So now that centers the text on screen. And next, what I want to do is my fill is going to remain the same, but I'm going to go for a smaller size. I want a second line of text, so we'll say 36. And say press space to play. So now that puts some text on screen. Then I can say if space equals to true, meaning we press the space key. At that point, we'll change our state to game, and then set space back equal to false, even though technically as soon as I release the key it should, but now let's go back up here. I got space. I realize as soon as I typed state equals, when I did state equals game, I realized I forgot to define my state variable here. We have start, game, win, lose. Of course, those are in all caps, but those are the 4 states we currently are going to use in our game. So now that gives us our start state with it. And if we run our project, we won't see any change because I forgot we have to move all the game stuff into our game state and then put our conditional there. So let's go and we will grab pretty much everything that is inside of draw right now. No, not set up. Let's back up a little bit. Draw right there. So I can copy that. Or cut that, even. Don't want it there. That is our game. Paste that in game. Now let's go back into our draw, which should be mostly empty at the moment. So if we look at draw, this is where we need to put in our conditional. I'm just going to put in the default background 128, and then if state equals, no, single equals, double equals, start. Then we play the start state. Else if state double equals, try again, double equals, game, state game, else if state double equals win, state win, else if state double equals lose, state lose, else curly brace, print line, quote, something is wrong with game states, end quote. So if something breaks, then it's going to do that message, and it's telling me we forgot something there. And when I look here, I realize I forgot to close out my final curly brace right there at the end of that if, and then end draw. So now let's try and run again. And now we can see, whoops, forgot to move that down. So let's move that down a little bit. Not sure if I'm sold on the colors right now, but the height here, let's move it down. Let's try 60. What's that look like? There we go. Neutron, press space to play. Okay, press space, and okay, worked. All right, so we kind of have two of our states going here. Technically, I realized because I put the background 128 in draw, I don't really need to repeat that here, so we'll get rid of that one. Didn't need to copy that. So there is that. Now, let's go into, I'm going to make my win and lose states, and then we'll go into the game function and update that to find those. So now we only want the insides of it. Let's copy that. And now go to our two win and lose here. Paste that in. This time we will put in a message. I'll say you, try again, you destroyed Psycho Hat. Probably can't have it that big. I'm guessing 48 is going to be close to what I need. So now have that. Let's see. So the win screen, I'm going to just go with something a little happier color here. Let's copy that. Paste that color in for the text. Have to go a little darker, copy that, paste that in. Now we are going to probably need a reset function where we're going to reset and call the resets on all the enemies and the fireball and the projectile, everything. Get that all set up. So we will do that. So we will reference that later, but first let's get these in. And now that I have that, I'm just going to copy that into my lose. In the lose screen, I'm going to go for a much harsher color for the background. And then I want to choose a bright color. Since I have a darker background, I'll do a lighter color for the text. And we go Psycho Head and his minions win. Okay, so now we have win, lose. That we're going to need to figure out all of the resets that need to happen as part of our game. So we have all of these. So after draw, or we'll put reset down where we're moving into this kind of utility section down here, because we have all of the intersects, the keyboard stuff on it. So it's not a bad idea sometimes. I mean, you even just put in whole lines like this to make it easier to see demarcations between things. So now I can see there's lose, there's win, there's start, there's game. So when you put that in, it can make it a little bit easier when you're scrolling through your code to find it. Do you have to do it? Absolutely not. But I would say that it probably is something that is going to help. So I'm going to just kind of work my way across here. So I can see the boss. We already created a reset for the boss. So resets its health, changes active back to false, kills the speed, resets the position. So with that, boss.reset. Easy. Now I need to loop through my enemies here. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than max enemies, I plus plus. Now what we need to do is we need to tell each enemy, so we'll be enemies square bracket I square bracket dot reset. Now let's see, it didn't turn red, so that's good, because then that would mean, as I seem to recall proactively, we did set up an enemy reset. So now, let's see, does Fireball has an update? It has a display, but Fireball does not have reset, so void reset. Couple curly braces, put an extra space. So Fireball active equals false. That's all the Fireball really needs, because then it gets reset every time it's fired in terms of position, but right now we just want to reset it to false. Now going back over here, we've done the enemies. Fireball pickups are next. Now the pickups, we're using not an array, but an array list. And it's recommended when we are removing from an array list is remove items from the end of array list first. So the way that works, we use a for loop, similar to what we've done, but instead of starting with I is 0, what we're going to do is start with I as the size of the pickup array minus 1 because we want a position value. So I go int I is equal to pickups dot size. Well, not there we go, size. So that is a method just like when we say array length, we say array list size, but we do it minus 1. We want 1 less because we're referring to positions. Because remember, array lists and arrays always start counting from 0. And then I is greater than or equal to 0. So normally we start with I as 0 and then we're going up. This time we start with I at the large amount. So say I have 25 pickups. We'd start out with position 0, and then as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to continue looping here. And now instead of I plus plus, we go I minus minus. So it's kind of, it's a reverse sequence. And then we can just simply go pickups dot remove, and then parenthesis I close parenthesis. So array lists have a size property, then they have add, get, and remove methods where we can take things away from them. Now, looking at the player has a reset. We reset the player's position and the player's health. So that's going to be easy. We can just go p.reset. So that resets the player, and now we need to reset the projectiles. Now, projectiles are an array, not an array list, so we will use a forward loop, so starting at 0, so for int I is equal to 0, I is less than, and in this case it's our ammo max, I plus plus, and projectiles square bracket I square bracket dot reset. And I think and reset does not exist yet on projectiles. Well, that's going to be easy enough to add. Clicking into projectile after the constructor, reset. And I just want to set their active equal to false. So any projectiles that are on screen will now be rendered null and void. So that takes care of all of the objects inside our game. And finally, we probably should reset the score. And then we should say ammo is equal to ammo max. So we repopulate the ammo. Okay. So now that is our game reset. So here we can just go reset. Inside lose, we'll do that also inside of win when we go to start over. Reset. So hopefully that's going to take care of it. So with that, I'll try and play the game here. Press space to play, and now I can move, grab a pickup, use up some ammo, and let's go look for someone to, well, okay, oh, and the game just kind of reset there because if our health is less than 0, we don't want to reset the player. We want to go state is equal to lose. Now, if the boss's health, so it looks like right here, fortunately, we're right where we want to be. So if the player's health goes down, then we lose. If the boss's health goes down, then at that point, state equals win. Okay, so we'll try again. I better move, because if I take him out and the boss is right there, where, whoa, he's motoring all over. It's a good thing those whoa, get some health back. Those fireballs are slow, which is beneficial for me. Hey, I won. Now let's see. Space. Ammunition is back. Scores. Oh, and I died. Very quickly there. And just check on the player. The player reset. My health should go back to max health, so apparently I just died really fast. All right, let's go find. Let's try and lose again right away. Okay, so it is just a matter of you go down really, really fast. All right, press space. Game is back. So hopefully you realize now that adding in game states is not any harder than it has been on previous projects. We just set our game state functions. Our draw becomes super simplified where we're just toggling through our different game states based on what our state is currently set at. Good luck and have fun coding, and I hope you make some really amazing games.